Is digital art a legitimate medium? At some point, someone might hassle you and say, "Oh, you make digital art. Oh, well, you just make it on the computer. It's not real art." And well, that's not true. Digital art is a legitimate medium. It's a different medium. It's not, any better than oil paint or watercolor. Art's not defined by a medium. It's defined by the artist, and it takes a lot to make art. I mean, anybody can just make a painting, you can just draw a circle on a canvas and there you go, you have a painting. But if you want to make good art, you have to know a lot of things. Like you have to know how to shade, and you have to know how to accurately represent the subjects that you're painting, and you have to know how to use the tools. And for traditional mediums, it's about as easy as just going to the art store and buying some paint and some brushes, and there you go, you can paint. Well, digital art's not that easy. For digital art, an artist has to know how to make a painting, for one. You have to have the technical talent to be able to do it. And then on top of that, you have to know how to use the software and the hardware. So you have to be tech savvy also. It's not an easy thing to do. And I think people who don't understand it and people who haven't tried it get the impression that it's somehow cheating, or it's, you're the artist is just typing tree into the computer and the computer paints the tree, when it's not really like that. You're going through all of the same artistic processes to make a digital painting. And everybody has their own ways of doing it. There might be some forms of digital art that aren't quite as hands-on, like vector art and different things, and it's a little easy. It's easy to misunderstand that if you've never tried it. But everything's craftsmanship is involved in every form of art. So what made me think of this is it's kind of come up here and there. I've been making digital art for about 7 or 8 years now, and when I first started doing it, people didn't know what it was at all. I had just kind of stumbled upon tablets, and before that, I'd never even occurred to me that I could make art in this way. And I didn't really accept it at first, but over time, I started to see the potential in it. I want to make art no matter what. I like digital art because it's new and it's something that I can feel, like I'm kind of being innovative when I'm working with it, and doing different things and developing my own technique, and putting my work out there. It's a niche, and it's good to have a niche as an artist. If you're going to try to be an oil painter, you're going to have a heck of a time, because everybody and their dog is an oil painter. Even elephants do paintings with oil and things. So you got a lot of competition there. But if you're going to do digital art, there's a lot of people doing that too, just not as many. And when it comes down to it, as an artist, you just want to sell your work. But there's people who are going to hassle you about it and say that it's not legitimate. And in particular, I'm going to show you some feedback that I got. One of our local newspapers, or it's like a magazine thing, I guess, called The Stranger, has a website and they have a blog. And this person, Jen Graves, is a writer for the blog, and she's basically wrote this article about how people don't buy art in Seattle, because art is like everywhere here. It's really easy to be an artist, and it seems like everybody's an artist here, and it's really easy to show your work, but most people just kind of come through on the art walk and look at your stuff, and don't buy anything. So in this article, she's trying to encourage people to buy art, by giving them some options, like suggesting that they negotiate with the gallery owners and do payment plans and things, and just overall trying to encourage people to spend money on art. So I posted something suggesting that if people are having trouble selling art, maybe they should try doing it on the internet, or try some different things like doing digital art, and having a niche. Basically what I'm kind of, describing here in this video. But apparently this guy took offense to that, Lamont here, and this is just kind of some interesting feedback that I got, where in Lamont's opinion, I'm not an artist, I'm an illustrator, and there's a big difference. And I don't necessarily disagree with that first part. I am an illustrator, but I'm also an artist. I do both. And, professionally, I market myself as an illustrator because I do a lot of, book designs and things like that. And then I also do fine art, art that's not for commercial purposes. It's just art that I made for myself, and I'm going to try to attempt to sell it. So I'm not really one or the other. Um, there is a difference between the two, but a person can be an artist and an illustrator at the same time. He looked at my work. He didn't really think it was that great. It's the kind of work that real artists would consider the work of a sellout. Well, I'm probably about as real as it gets for an artist, so I'm not really, I don't know who this guy is. I haven't seen any of his work. He could be really talented, I don't know. But I personally just don't care, what people think. If people think I'm not a real artist, that's unfortunate, because I've sold a lot of my work everywhere, all around the world, on just about every continent except for Antarctica. So, in my opinion, I'm pretty successful as an artist, and more successful than some artists are. But that's just my opinion. Any decent artist can do what I do and try to sell it. That's an interesting statement, because as well as I do, if you've tried to sell your work, people aren't going to buy it if they don't like it. And if it's not good, or it's just not an image that they connect with, they're not just going to go, oh, it's art, I'm going to spend money on it. It doesn't work that way. It might be technically easier to sell art because there's other niches available to you as a digital artist, so it's easy for that reason, but you still have to do a lot of work. You have to keyword and upload and describe all your work, and there's still a lot you have to do on top of having to paint the thing. So it's really not that easy to sell. Try making real art and then sell it, and you'll earn the respect of other artists. I'm pretty sure I've got the respect of other artists. I do make real art because I consider digital art to be real art, and I do sell it. But if he's referring to traditional media art, I've also made and sold that. I just prefer to do digital art because it's new. I like being a digital artist. I don't want to have to compete with a bunch of people doing oil painting, and on top of that, I don't. I've tried oils and acrylics and watercolor and colored pencil and charcoal. I've used a lot of different mediums, and they're just not my thing. I don't like to use them. If Lamont had to make the kind of art that I do in order to sell, Lamont would quit making art. That's unfortunate. And one of the things I pointed out in my post is that if you're going to be this frustrated and just say that you give up and you can't sell art in Seattle and people don't sell art, then you're a quitter. Lamont's a quitter here. Lamont's not going to try. Lamont wants everything just to be easy and to be handed to him, and no matter what, even if the times are changing and people don't want to buy art in the way that Lamont feels that people should buy his work, he's just going to be very frustrated. So it'd be nice if I could say something back to him. He's an unregistered user. All I really want to say is, it's unfortunate that you're frustrated. Maybe I can do something to help, because it sucks to be in that position and really want to be an artist and really want to sell art. I mean, I've been there too. When starting out, I didn't sell anything, and I had to just work on it little by little, and try different things and think outside the box and not only try to do one thing. I try to do 100 things now, and I'm probably overworking myself trying to get my work out there, but that's what you have to do now. It's not easy. It's not like it used to be 10 or 20 years ago as an artist, to sell your work. You might even, have to kind of be the one to invent some things, because digital art's so new. You want to try to find a lot of resources online to tell you what to do, but sometimes you can't find them, and that's kind of a lot of the reason why I'm making these resources, is because I've had that realization that that information isn't out there because it's being created as we speak, So, I want to just show you real quick, kind of an example of some stuff you can do with your work. If you want to talk about, is it legitimate or not? Well, if it's legitimate, people are going to buy it. That's what's going to legitimize it, is, are people buying digital art? Yes, they are, definitely. And this is a website I use a lot called Shutterstock. It allows me to upload my artwork to their website, and then a person anywhere around the world could do a search. Let's say they do a search for the solar system. A bunch of images of the solar system will come up by different artists. Some will be 3D renderings, and some will be paintings, and some will be drawings, and some will be digital art. And if they see one that they like and they click on it and download it, then the artist who created that image gets a royalty. And you can earn as many royalties as you want on any one image. You don't sell it that one time. You're kind of renting it in a way. So the people who download your image then can use it to a certain degree because they have a license. So this person who downloaded my solar system image here in Africa, or wherever this is here, I don't know which country specifically it is, they're going to use that maybe in a book or something. Maybe a grade school book in Africa will have my image here printed in it, and then a bunch of kids in Africa will learn what the order of the planets are from this illustration I made. For each download you get maybe 25 cents, or maybe $2, or maybe $5, or you might even get $28 for one download. And again, you can have as many downloads. You have an unlimited number of downloads per image that you can sell. So for the rest of your life, all of these images you have on these websites will be earning you money. And I've been doing this for about 7 years now, so I've had a lot of this artwork, the older stuff I've created, like this image here, has been earning me money for that many years. I've made more money off of this image as royalties than I would have made selling it as a oil painting or something. So and I'm never going to have to give up my rights to this image. If I wanted to, I could sell the rights, and I could say, okay, if you want to buy the rights to this image and I don't own it anymore, you can buy it for $5,000 or something, and then I could sell it for that much if I wanted to. I'm going to refresh this page here, and you'll see how this thing works. This is stuff I've sold within the last day or two. So every day I sell downloads on this website and other websites. There's some pieces that I've sold the same piece almost every day in a row for the past few months now, especially that solar system one. But you can see stuff's going to South America, Africa, United States. I've seen it go everywhere, all over this map. It's really, really cool to be able to see these stats, and it's really encouraging. So if you're going to give me beef and say that I'm not a real artist and that I'm a sellout, if you think that this is selling out, that my work's getting all over the place and people are seeing it and buying it and I'm having success, then sure, I'm a sellout. And if you think that doesn't make me a real artist, then fine, then I'm not a real artist in your opinion. That's cool. But it doesn't bother me that you think that, or that people think that about me as an artist, because it's like water off a duck's back. I know what's working for me, and I'm going to keep doing it. And people are always going to try to discourage you. That's what's going to make you successful, is if you can just turn that off and not care what people think about it, and just do it, and just focus on doing what you want to do. So don't let people give you any kind of flack about that. If your artist friends are like, oh, this is really easy, give them your tablet and sit them down in front of the computer and let them try it. Maybe it'll turn them on to it, or maybe they'll respect you a little more as an artist when they see how hard it is just to even use the software and even figure out where all the tools are, let alone make a painting. As far as gallery owners and art collectors go, they might not want to buy digital art and spend a lot of money on it because they're not really getting anything physical. Like when you buy an oil painting on canvas, you get that painting when you buy it and you can hold it in your hands, whereas digital art, unless you do a print or something, it's not really physical. And I think what makes them, besides being able to hold that in their hands, what makes an oil painting valuable is that it has this fragility. If something happens, if something pokes a hole in the painting and ruins it, or there's a fire and the painting gets burned, or there's a flood and it gets wet and moldy, that painting's gone, and so it's destroyed. And that makes it a lot more valuable because it's a one-of-a-kind thing. Well, to tell you the truth, digital art's the same thing. It's just as vulnerable and it's just as fragile. And I'll show you an example of that. Let's see here. Okay, so this painting here is a painting I did in 2012, and this is the second incarnation of it, because when I started it the first time, the save file got corrupted, and so this painting that I did that looked pretty similar, it wasn't finished, but it was the same concept and same colors, it got just totally destroyed, and so I lost all that progress that I put into it. This is what it ended up looking like, and you can see kind of part of the arm there. As I saved the file, and I only had one copy of the file, for some reason I didn't save more than one copy, and I recommend that you always do iterative saves and have more than one copy of your artwork if you care a lot about it. But something happened, I don't know what, it just turned into whatever this garbled stuff here is, and I spent a bunch of time trying to scan my drive and get it back, and then I realized I just wasted too much time doing that, so then I just immediately started repainting it, and then, did a second version. So, I don't really remember exactly what it looked like, so I don't know if the second version's better than the first, but this right here is an example of 10 or 15 hours just down the drain that I lost. And there's other paintings that I've spent maybe 30 hours on. There was one other one that I lost when my hard drive crashed. And I'm kind of bummed out about that. But for the most part, I've had maybe 4 or 5 episodes of hard drive failure over the past few years. And out of that, I've only lost a few pieces, and I've fortunately not lost everything. So backing up's very important. But digital art is fragile. It can get ruined. It can get destroyed. And so when art collectors and gallery owners start to kind of better understand computers and computer technology, which people will in the future, they'll understand that a PSD file is worth a lot of money as an original because it's the original. They'll have some comprehension of what a layered Photoshop file is, hopefully, and then you'll be able to sell your PSDs to people for $10,000 or something. That'll be the future. Digital art, is just going to get more and more popular, and people are just going to become more and more comfortable with it. And it's up to you as the artist to go out there and promote yourself and show people what it is and show people how cool it is and let people know that it does take a lot of work to make this stuff, So anyways, I've kind of gone on probably a lot longer than I need to about this, but again, I really want to point out that digital art is a legitimate medium, and it's, it's up to you to make it work for you. If you're into it, don't let people get you down. Just keep doing what you're doing and be successful at it. So I hope this helped you with your artistic endeavors, and stay tuned for more videos. Thanks for watching.